Hi there. I'm Alison Reeves, registered clinical counselor in the beautiful oceanside area of British Columbia on Vancouver Island. Well, I'm going to talk about a concept here in this brief 15-minute video about understanding when people just don't get it. You know, I run into this so many times with clients. I've counseled well over 2,000 clients in my practice so far. And that one's a biggie. You know, people really want to be understood. They want people to get it. And I'm always curious as to, well, what's going to happen if you don't get it? You know, if people really don't understand, what's going to happen? Are you going to be continuing to be this morose, this upset, this isolated? It's all very, very important here because we might not get what we want. There's nothing wrong with what we want. What if we don't get it? Okay? Because remember, it's requiring someone else to give it to us. And so that's probably, as a mental health professional, that's my first clue that you're going to be in trouble. Because you're basing it all on somebody else giving you something, on someone else responding to you in a particular way, and it doesn't always happen. However, there is something I find that is even more meaningful about the concept of understanding. Of course, understanding involves empathy. It allows for a person to really come into your frame of reference. And empathy is a concept that is taught. It's a concept that's learned. We're not born with empathy. We actually learn it. We tend to learn it at an early age. So some people are more able to understand than others because they can put themselves in another person's shoes without taking their own frame of reference with them. And believe me, that one's hard. That one is truly, truly hard. So normally what happens is that people will attempt to see it from your perspective, but they take their own frame of reference. Okay, they take their own skill level, their own education level, their own perspective, and temporarily put their perspective to the side to see if they could understand it from your perspective with their skill level, with their education level, for example, with their social background, with their perhaps ease that they've lived in their lives. That's very hard to let go of. So what is going to happen here with the concept of understanding is that I want you to realize understanding requires empathy. It also requires something else. It requires a true curiosity. And sometimes we really are very, very intensely curious about the other person, and we just don't understand it yet. We don't quite get it, so we keep on asking more. We want to learn more so that we can comprehend something. Because frequently we feel very uncomfortable if we can't predict. I think pretty well as human beings, we like stability. Even if we think we are very spontaneous, At the heart of things, we also like a lot of stability. And sometimes unpredictability is one of the hardest things. So when a disease comes in, well, you can imagine you with your partner or with the person you're caring for, they've got Parkinson's, for example, or MS, or osteoporosis, or dementia. Well, how do you understand that? How do you understand their Parkinson's? How do you let go of your frame of reference, your abilities, and go into their shoes? Hard, isn't it? It's really, really hard. And perhaps what happens more than anything is there's a sense of dismay, a deep sense of dismay, a deep sense of being isolated because another person doesn't have a clue what we're going through. Now, I think more than anything, with that sense of interest, when a person's really curious, they take away the sense of well, I have to know because I just want to know. It's like, I really want to know because I really want to get it. So those sorts of people are really kind of neat to be around because they're interested in us. They're curious and They must like us to some degree, otherwise they wouldn't be trying so hard. One of the things I like to let people know, though, with understanding, another aspect of it is there's a form of acceptance. There's no fighting about something. Okay? This is really powerful, because this is the part that I'm really going to help you with today, because I think it makes a big, big difference. And it makes our relationships a lot easier, both within ourselves, but between us and the person, for example, who's got the disease, and for us and all our friends, all our colleagues, all the healthcare professionals, all the family members of the person who's got the disease, all sorts of different people. The idea is, do you accept it? And the it is, do you accept that I'm struggling if you're the caregiver? Do you accept that I am sad that the person I'm caring for is unable? Do you accept that my life has changed and I don't like it? Do you accept that Parkinson's is expensive? Do you accept that the dreams are all gone? Do you accept that ... Or do you fight it? And this is where frequently when I've been speaking with caregivers, like I give a lot of seminars, especially through the Family Caregiver Network, fabulous group. What happens is that, long distance caregivers versus the day-to-day caregivers, the day-to-day caregivers are the ones who are seeing a lot of stuff. They might be making erroneous assumptions and interpretations. However, they're actually seeing an awful lot, and they're feeling a lot. They're experiencing a lot. Whereas the person who does not witness the person with, for example, Parkinson's going through things and the difficulties that they're running into, when they don't see it, they will still be making up opinions frequently. Well, you should do this, that, or the other. Well, you should just do this. Or, why are you doing that? All those sorts of accusations or questions can come out, or, I just don't get it. Things like that. What happens is that they're trying to make meaning of something that they've seen maybe only sporadically or have heard, and they're trying to make sense of it. And frequently what happens when people find that they're faced with unpredictability or something that they don't like, we become much more narrow in our vision. We put blinders on, blinkers on, those horse things. And with that in mind, it's like we can't even entertain that life isn't going to be easy. We have a hard time accepting that life is harder now, and that we might have to change our lives as well. It's very, very interesting. You see, the people who are really interested are usually more able to be a bit more flexible about being able to be creative in coming up with ideas. Say, look, if you need anything, don't know if I can help you out, but please call. Oh, wouldn't that be delightful to hear from somebody? And then what would be even more delightful if you said, I will, and then you do, and say, I'm so out of money. Can you help? And the person says, gee, I don't know, what do you need? So there's that continual back and forth dialogue, of a reality and a question, and an answer and a question. Understanding, I think, involves acceptance. And I think frequently acceptance is probably the most that we will get. And if we can get that, what a difference it makes. I think for most of us, the acceptance has to happen within ourselves. Because, you see, I'm just going to give an example here. I've got MS, and I've had it since the age of 25. And acceptance, I didn't work at acceptance. I remember being really startled when my physician turned to me and said, I'm just so happy that you've accepted this. And I'm going, what? Because acceptance isn't liking, okay? Acceptance isn't going, oh, I'm so glad, Acceptance just simply is that we acknowledge the fact that, for example, MS exists and it has a direct impact on my life, on my earning capacity, on the amount of energy I might have or be willing to put out, or the type of profession I might go into, or the insurance benefits I might get or not get, as the case may be. When a person has acceptance for you, what they're doing is they're actually saying, I really hate what you're going through, and they don't argue with you. Okay? They recognize that you're the caregiver, you're the primary caregiver usually, and that your perspective is simply your perspective. They may wish it were otherwise. They may be curious about it. They might have a different opinion about, for example, your preference, your choices. And they can state it as, well, you know, I don't know what I would do really in your shoes. However, I think I'm more comfortable with this choice. And you can listen to them and go, well, you know something? I'm not. However, if you want to take over, go right ahead. Or, well, thanks for letting me know your thoughts on that. I know this has been a difficult one for me to come to as well. I'm still going to go strong on this, but if ever I choose your way, do you mind if I just give you a call? Because I'd really like to talk with you a bit more about it. I've done thinking about it, and I'm not going to be doing what you're suggesting. However, can you imagine having conversations like that? It absolutely blows people apart when they're telling you what you should be doing and you say you might have a point there. I'm going with this, and you might still have a point there. I think what it does more than anything is it brings forward the differences, and that a person is accepting the Parkinson's, for example, accepting that you're primary caregiver and disagreeing with your choices. And it's okay that they disagree. And it's okay that you disagree. It just kind of flattens things, because you don't have to follow their way of doing it. They don't have to follow your way of doing it. Of course, everything would be easier if everyone agreed on the same mode. Of course. Let's face it, that's rare. That's rare. We're all quite unique. And sometimes when we run into it, it's just so refreshing and so easy. One of the reasons why, though, is because we don't feel we have to defend ourselves. I think that's one of the things I liked about Manuel Smith's assertiveness techniques in the back of his book, that really boring book, When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. Because I want you to know something. Your energy is very, very important. Please do not deny, defend, or attack, or withdraw when you're criticized. That comes directly from his book, and it is fabulous. So you can rewind the tape here for a bit. When criticized, do not deny, defend, counterattack, or withdraw. Okay? One of the cute things is, it takes a bit of guts to actually try it out. I'd say experiment in all sorts of situations to just find out what might work better for you. Is you can just say, well, I hear you. I'm doing it this way, and I hear you. But thanks for accepting that Parkinson's is rough, or that I'm the primary caregiver here. Wow, can you imagine what that's going to be like when you actually put it that way? And it's not about understanding. It's about acceptance. Understanding is, believe me, the cherry on the cake, or the cherry on the sundae, or whatever that expression is. And it's lovely when you get it. Please don't wait for it. Okay? Look for acceptance. Give yourself acceptance. Give the person with Parkinson's the acceptance. Alison Reeves, registered clinical counselor. And I could do oodles more videos on this topic because it's so important. Okay? Really very, very interesting, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much for listening. I hope you found it to be of value.